All right, so tonight's class is the teachings of Tzadok Parshat Mishpatim, and this is really the class about recovery. It's a class about real tikkunim, and like in Breslov, whenever anything is bad, so like they say it's tikkunim, like when you're going through something hard. So they call it tikkunim. Tikkunim literally means rectifications, and so Tzadok says that the first message of this parsha is that we need to know that everything in life, everything difficult that we're going through, there's no such thing that Hashem just wants to get us. That Hashem is out to zap us. That if there's anything that is difficult in life, so there's only one reason why it could be happening to us, and that is that somehow it's there to fix us. That there's something wrong with us. That the only way that it could be fixed is only this particular way, and there is no easier way. That somebody once came to the Chofetz Chaim and he asked him how you doing, and he was saying, it would be like it sounds better in Yiddish, but it would be mutter for it to be a little bit better. It would be mutter for it to be not so hard, and the Chofetz Chaim was upset with him, that how dare you say such a horrible thing? If it would be at all permissible by any leniency in the entire universe to be even a tiny bit less bad, so then Hashem would instantly make it less bad. How can you think that there is no such thing that something is just bad because that's just the way it is? Because life isn't fair. That everything is there for a purpose, and all the negative stuff that's going on. So it's really all for tikkunim. And this is something that allows us to really survive in life. I like to share in another context that this famous quote from Nietzsche that Viktor Frankl would always quote. That is, if you have a why, then you can overcome anyhow. And the person understands why I'm going through something, so then it makes it more palatable. It makes it that I can take it, and if the pain, a lot of the emotional pain in anything that I'm going through is because of the absurdity of it, because of the randomness of it, because why do I deserve this? And once we internalize that this is the way it needed to be and it couldn't have been anywhere else, that it couldn't have been any other way, so then it's actually much easier. It's much easier for us to make it through. And so Frankl would tell the story about a guy that he knew in the concentration camps, that he was in the worst part of the concentration camps, the part with the most humiliation, the most suffering, and the most tortures, and the most murders, and there's the most stress and the most everything horrible, and so this guy was actually there out of his own volition, and then he would go back to the bunk at the end of the day, and he would say, "Victor, you can tell me that I'm a crazy man, but I'm happy. I'm a happy man." And so what was his story? That he found out that his wife was supposed to be in this part of the concentration camp. And he knew that his wife was a very fragile woman and that she wouldn't survive. So he turned over the world to be able to bribe the SS officers that he should be able to switch with her, and he succeeded. So now every time that he was getting beaten, so what was he thinking? He was thinking that by getting beaten right now, I'm saving my wife from this pain. So there's actually a beautiful feeling in the fact that I'm saving somebody, the fact that I'm saving somebody that I love from this torture, from this discomfort. So that's something that actually can give a person happiness. Okay, so this is what it means when a person, if you have a why that you can overcome anyhow, and this is something that is going to make us just make life just more livable, because anything that's not the way we would have wanted it. So now we understand that there's a reason. We don't know what the reason is, but we know that there's a reason. We know that it's getting us to somewhere good, to somewhere better, and this is something which can give us satisfaction. And so he starts with the words, with the very, very beginning of the parsha, the words ve'ela mishpatim asher tasim b'fneihem. So it quotes from the Ramban that when it says ve'ela mishpatim, so the word mishpatim in this context means punishments. That the opening to this parsha is that there's consequences. That there's a mishpatim means that there's a system of judges, of court systems, that the purpose is that if you mess up, there's going to be consequences. Okay, and he quotes different psukim in the parsha that this is what it's referring to. That what the word Mishpatim means. The Mishpatim means that the consequences, and so Tzadok explains that the purpose of these punishments is that because if there wouldn't be punishments, then a person would be helpless. That a person that sins, so then their soul falls from its place, and their soul is not the same, is not where it should be, not where it once was, and you're a person that has a certain distance. This person detached between a person that sins and God, and so the one of the things that Hashem did in His amazing wisdom and His amazing kindness and amazing compassion is that He said, "Let me make it that there's a way out. Let me make it that there's something that you can do that we can just make amends." Okay, and so of course like 99% of the time, so tshuva is really enough. But sometimes tshuva doesn't work. We'll talk about this later. And there's such a thing that punishment is also, even the person doesn't do tshuva, so he's also not hopeless. Okay, he can also get a way back. He can also get his tikkun, get his rectification, and the purpose of this whole system of punishments, it's all that, in his words, is that the Hashem is chishev machshavos. Hashem is thinking, is ideas, he's planning ideas, leva yidach menu nidach, that nobody should be helpless. Nobody should be a person there should be no such thing as a point of no return. There should be no such thing as a person that's just gone, that just can't be connected anymore, that he's just off the deep end, and that Hashem will never take him back, that there can't be such a thing. Okay? And so he writes that's why in the Zohar, the sixth Parsha, so it says Ve'ela Mishpatim Asher Tasim Lifneim. So the topic, if you speak to any Kabbalists this week, so they're all going to be talking about reincarnations. Okay, this is the week of reincarnations. That Ve'ela Mishpatim Asher Tasim Lifneim. That really, that according to the Zohar, you know what it means. That all the bad things that happen. So the real reason, if you want to know why everything bad is happening to you, so the real reason is because just look further back. Look further back, and there's a story the story with the Baal Shem Tov, the ones a person came to him and he said, and like everything was going wrong, and there's his wife hated him, his kids hated him, and all his neighbors, and his sicknesses and everything, the most horrible life. And he goes to Baal Shem Tov, why is this happening to me? So it's the Baal Shem Tov tells him that everything that's happening to you is because of this guy named Yankel Greenspan that's in the shtetl two towns over. And so he writes down which shtetl is. He says, "You sure this is the name?" "Yeah, I'm sure this is the name." And so he goes, makes a trip, and he's like, "Where's this guy, Yankel Greenspan?" And he's going around and around, and nobody's heard of Yankel Greenspan. And after like 10 hours of searching, so he's all depressed. Like the Rebbe said that this is the only way that I can get saved. Like, what's going on? And so he's like at the outskirts of the city, and he's just like sitting down, depressed. And it happens to be that's right next to the cemetery. And so the guy, there was a guard in the cemetery that saw him, and he said, "Hey buddy, everything okay? Need a drink, you know?" And so he said, "No, it's fine." I said, "No, really, tell me, it's okay. You can open up to a cemetery guy." And so he tells him, like, "I'm looking for this guy, like the Yankel Greenspan, and like the Rebbe said that this is the source of my problems, and I can't find him anywhere. I've been searching for 10 hours, and nobody's heard of him." And so he said, Yankel Greenspan. Hold on a second. I don't know if this has any relevance, but like, there's a guy in the cemetery. That's what it says. That's what it says. It's not from a long time ago, but it's like, so he shows him, and he writes down all the details, and he goes and he says, "Okay, I don't know. This makes no sense at all. How could this dead person be the source of my problems?" And so he goes back to the Baal Shem Tov, and he says, "Rebbe, I found Yankel Greenspan, but like, what the heck?" So he said, "Okay. Did you find out about him?" So he said, "No." So they go back. So he goes back and he asked the old people, like, "Tell me about Yankel Greenspan." And they tell them, "Oh my gosh, he was like nobody liked him. He was always he always had something bad to say to everybody. He was the most miserly person. He was just full of just rudeness, and nobody liked him. And he goes, and he goes back to the Rebbe. Okay, I found out about him. I was it wasn't such a nice guy, but he's dead. So he says, did you notice? Did you write down what year he died? So he died 55 years ago. He says, how old are you? He says, oh my gosh. So this is the in Parshat Mishpatim. So the Zohar says that the El Mishpatim Shatas Miftim, that this is the Sod HaGilgulim. This is the Sod HaGilgulim, which is really the entire thing of the Tikkunim. That the way that this parsha is all about tikkunim, it's all about recovery, it's all about that it's never too late. It's never about that just because things were bad doesn't mean you can't come back. So that's exactly what Gilgulim is all about. Because really, what is Gilgulim? What's reincarnation all about? The whole thing about reincarnations is there are unique kinds of reincarnations. The person comes back as a punishment, but 99% of the reincarnations is we're all reincarnations, and the 99% of reincarnations is that a person tried or didn't try in their life, and then after 120 or less than 120, so then they pass away, and Hashem says that, kid, you didn't do your job. You're supposed to. There was more. So what does Hashem say? Hashem has two options. He could say tough luck. You go to hell for life and whatever. But Hashem says, there's another option. Give it another try. And the entire idea of reincarnations are that whatever a person was expected to do in the lifetime that they weren't able to do, so if they didn't do it in one lifetime, so then they have another lifetime to do. Okay? And so now the thing is that it's our soul deep down really wants to be done already. And that's why we should always be davening that we want that Hashem help us to fulfill our mission in this world. Help us that this should be the last. That this should be the end of our journey. I know a person actually that he was he's a big Rav, and he's about tshuva. He was brought up not religious, and he said that his main motivation in Judaism, his main motivation in serving Hashem is that he feels intuitively very strongly that he's been in this world many times before, and he's had enough already. He wants to finish it already. He wants to just get it all done. Just whatever I need to do, I'm going to do. And Hashem, just give me all the whatever you need me to do. Just bring it my way, and I want to do it right, and then I'll be done. And this is something that we should aspire to. We should aspire to be able to. What?
To want to die?
No, to want to finish our job. To want to finish everything which is our mission. Of course, not to die, but once you're dead, you want that to be the end. You want to live a full life. And think about it. Would you, after you lived a full life, and then you ask you would you want to have another life, be another person with another personality with another? No. Once you've lived a whole life, you feel very satisfied. If person doesn't live a full life, then they feel very dissatisfied.
No, I agree. Do you want to get it over? He sounds like he just wants to get it over with already.
I want to get over all of my. I didn't mean in that sense. That's true. When a person dies young, so we do say that it must be that they finish the shlichus early. So we do say that, but that wasn't what I meant at all. I meant that I want to finish it in my lifetime. Part of my lifetime, I very much hope the part of my lifetime is going to be dancing at my great grandchildren's weddings, but I want to do it. I want to do it right, and I want to dance the way you want me to dance, and I want to say brachas at the wedding the way you want me to say brachas, and it doesn't have to come soon. But I want whatever I was supposed to do. I want to do it now. I want to do it right, and so the whole concept of Gilgulim, the whole concept of reincarnations is that Hashem loves us so much. Hashem cares about every single yid, and He wants it to work out, and He wants it to succeed, and He'll do whatever it takes for the person to succeed. You can get a retest and a retest and a retest, and like in a university, if you fail the first time, you can get a second. Yeah, I think so. Right? And nothing like this. So reincarnations is Reincarnation is something that, by the way, I read recently that that there's this guy named Ian Stevenson from University of Virginia that he did some clinical research on reincarnations, and he had he interviewed like 4,000 people that the new things from previous lives, that it was completely impossible and completely illogical that they should know, and he would go and research the person that they were describing, and he would try as many times as he could to find the person that he was describing and find out details about his life that nobody could have known, and he just knew it, and it's fascinating. So there's reincarnation is something that even the secular world is dabbles with, and it's part of our tradition, obviously. So the reason why the Zohar puts Gilgulim at the beginning of the Parsha is because the theme of this week's Parsha is that Hashem loves us so much that He wants that it should never be too late, and He wants that there should always be a way to fix anything. Okay? And this is really the idea. This is really the idea of punishments. And it's really what helps us to have a better perspective on what punishments are really all about. So now Tzadok writes that this is the reason why Mishpatim is in the end of what's a period of time called Shovavim. Okay? Shovavim. Shovavim is an abbreviation. It stands for Shmos Ve'era Bo B'Shalach Yisur Mishpatim, and it's these 6 weeks that it says that the Arizal revealed that it's a special time for tikkunim. It's a special time for fixing different things in the person's soul, specifically regarding sexual immorality. Okay, it was specifically regarding anything that has to do with that, so basically Shovavim is about kedusha, because when we say the word kedusha, so Rashi says kedusha too is a prushim in Arayas, that the word kedusha is the part of the intonation, the part of the meaning of the word is that a person who's holy is a person that controls themselves when it comes to sexual things. So now when we talk about a tzaddik, a person who's a tzaddik, so the term tzaddik specifically has to do that the person is tzaddik when it comes to sexual things. And that's why, for example, there's a pasuk that says Tzadik Yisod Olam, right? That's made more famous now from the song from Elitzer, Ani Rotzeh Chiliyot Tzadik Yisod Olam, and the Yisod in Kabbalah is about this. So when Tzadik Yisod Olam, so the Tzadik is the Yisod. Tzadik is the person that he's the foundation of the world, and the foundation means the most fundamental thing is your ability to create, your ability to bring life into the world, and everything that leads up to that. So that is the most fundamental thing in your psyche, and that's why the term tzaddik is specifically referring to that, and that's why we refer to Yosef as tzaddik. Yosef is the only hero, the only Chumash hero that we call Yosef a tzaddik, and the reason is because his claim to fame, his spotlight was when he was tested with something sexual, and he passed the test. So that's why he gets the test. He gets this title, the Yosef tzaddik. So the word tzaddik has to do with being strong and being straight and being up to our morals and up to our values when it comes to sexual things, and that's why the letter, which is according to Sefer Yetzirah, the letter according to Kabbalah, which is connected to the month of Shvat, is the letter tzaddik. Okay, and that's because Shvat is always every year the month of Shvat is the month of where Shovavim is, and so the energy of the month is being a tzaddik, and part of being a tzaddik is to be strong when it comes to things about sexual immorality, and so now the Tzadok explains that. So why does the Torah start in Mishpatim? Why does the Torah start Mishpatim with the halachas of Eved Ivri, about being a slave, having a slave, how to treat your slaves? So he says because a person that is not straight, the person is not up to their values when it comes to sexual immorality, so the punishment is that they should become a slave. Okay, it says that in the Gemara. And
Yosef was a slave.
Right?
Right.
Interesting. I mean, he was a slave, and he was able to escape slavery because of this. That's actually a very good point. And so specifically sins which are connected to sexual immoralities, that causes a person to be a slave. So for our context nowadays, like Baruch Hashem, we don't have slavery. So, but there's the slavery that we have is what we call addictions, and the addictions is really a slavery. And the truth is that the Zohar talks about this kind of slavery many years ago, because towards the end of the Torah, there's a Parshat Kisavai. Parshat Kisavai is called the Tochacha. The Tochacha is the curses that Hashem says are going to happen unto the Jewish people if we don't follow the Torah. And so, the very end of the Tochacha, the very last line of the Tochacha is V'hismakartem la'avadim v'deshvachos ve'en kainem. That you're going to be sold to as servants and maidservants, and nobody's going to want to buy you. So the Zohar asks that what does that mean? It says you're going to be sold. So if nobody's going to buy you, how are you going to be sold? So the Zohar answers that you have to read the pasuk more carefully, because it doesn't say the nim kartem, that you will be sold. It says v'hitma kartem. The v'hitma kartem is a very interesting grammatical usage, because usually when we say the word hit at the beginning of a word, so it means the reflexive. We say lehit labesh. We say lehit rachet. Whatever, something you do to yourself. So we call that hit, right? So when it says v'hitma kartem, it says you will cause yourselves to be sold. So that actually means that the slavery is in your head. That is actually not real. That this is that you. Is this the first one? Second, in Kisavai. Okay? So the essence of the epitome of the Tochacha, the worst curse in the world is that you're going to cause yourself to be a slave, right? Because if somebody else is making you a slave, so then it's like it's easier to get out than when you're causing yourself to be a slave. When it's all up to you, when you're causing yourself to be a slave, so then like you feel helpless. Shalom, welcome, good to see you. So this is the world of this curse of the Zohar, this curse of V'hismakartem is the curse of addictions. This is the curse of bad habits, bad behavior traits, that a person gets into this cycle that they feel stuck, and they feel like I'm not in charge. Okay, and so when you're not in charge, when you have this something that controls you, so then you've lost everything. Then like your life is not a life. Your life is not a life, and you're a slave to your addictions. You're a slave to your bad habits, and the most basic thing in life is that I'm in control. That I want to call the shots. So the Torah is telling us. The Torah is telling us that the first step to getting out of this these bad places is to recognize that I want to get out, and the secret to recovery is the understanding, is internalizing that this is not somewhere I want to be. Okay? And that's why, like, it's very unfortunate. It's that when you have, like, I've met many kids that were sent to recovery by their parents. It was like they're sent to rehab by their parents, and the parents, like in Israel, it's a little bit cheaper, but like in America, you have these rehab places that it costs like $30,000-$40,000, and it's not covered by any by any insurance, and they went once, twice, 3 times, and nothing happened because the parents were forcing them. And they didn't themselves. They weren't interested, and their parents were very interested in getting rehab, but they weren't interested. And so if you don't want, it's never gonna happen. Like there's a joke. How many psychologists does it take to change a light bulb? So they say it's not one, but he wants to want to be changed. and the and so so the so this is the so this is the avdus that the Torah is starting with, that the avdus is the first example of tikkun, that the purpose of avdus is that when a person is recognizing that I'm a slave, so then that is the way that they can get out. And when the reason why Hashem puts us into these unfortunate situations is as a way to get out. Okay, so meaning that the Torah is telling us that sometimes a person has a certain negative trait, and they don't see anything wrong with it. So sometimes Hashem will put the person into a situation that they realize that it's not serving their lives. That they will have to. Hashem wants to show the person that this behavior trait is not good for you, and so sometimes it'll take something intense to show that person, to have the person to be able to wake up and say, "Hey, this is actually something I don't want," because until now everything was great, but now I'm realizing I'm losing my friends, I'm losing my sense of self, everybody feels bad for me, everything I can't do the things that I used to like doing, and when you realize at some point that I don't recognize myself anymore, so that is an avdus, which is actually a tikkun. Okay? And that's why that's the first example of the tikkun of Mishpatim. It's a punishment which is meant to put the person through rehab, that by helping him realize that this is something that can't continue, this is something that I don't want, so that's how it actually brings to a sense of recovery. So now the Torah says that there's two kinds of adam. So a person that does tshuva, that's the best. A person that doesn't do tshuva, so Hashem wants to show you that, come on, sin is not good. Sin is avdus. So the sin is you're being a slave. You're not living life. You're not really the boss anymore. So then what happens when you're a slave? So then the Torah says that there's an end to the slavery. That 6 years you'll be a slave, 7th year you go free. Okay? So, but the thing is that there's somebody that's so messed up that that's not enough. And then the Torah says that there's a person that says that, I know it's time to go, but dear master, I have to ishti, I love my wife, as banai, that I love being a slave. This is so awesome, being a slave in your house. And so there's something called ritzia. That you become an eved nirtza, that we take this is the first paragraph in this week's parsha, that you take this slave that he says he wants to stay a slave, and you take him to the doorpost, and you take a hammer and you put a little hole in his earlobe. Okay, this machlek is exactly where you do it. So this is the Eved Nirtza. Okay, and so it says that this Eved Nirtza, so he doesn't go back. And this is, so the Tzadok says that this represents a certain level of sin, that the person is so addicted, the person is so into this negative lifestyle that they don't even realize that it doesn't serve them. That everybody's telling you that, look, you're not living anymore. You're losing all your jobs, you're losing all your friends, you're losing all your family, and it just couldn't care less. The only thing that he cares about is where he can get some alcohol, where he can get some more drugs, and he's just, and the fact that he's a slave, it's not strong enough for him, and so that's the case of nirtza. So now, but what does Rav Tzadok write? That the Torah says that even an Eved Nirtza also goes free. That there's no such thing as a person that stays forever, because there's such a thing as Yovel. The Yovel is the 50th year. The 50th year, even the Eved Nirtza, even that unfortunate, it's pathetic, it's tragic, it's horrible that the person that he's in the mud and he doesn't want to get out of the mud. So even he is going to recover. Even he has a way out. There's no such thing as a person that's hopeless. There's no such thing as a person that's never going to get out. And how is he going to get out? He gets out through something called Yovel. And what's the idea of Yovel? So there's two things. First of all, Yovel is the 50th year. And the word number 50, so this represents the world to come. Okay? Why does 50 represent the world to come? Because 50 is more than 49. And 49 represents the physical reality. Okay, 7 times 7. The 7 is the physical world. So 7 times 7 is the expansion of the physical world. And 50 is the beyond. Okay, so 50 always represents the beyond. So the 50th year, the Ramban writes when he talks about Yovel in Parshat Bahar, so this is what he explains, that the concept of the Yovel, the Jubilee year, is that there is an expression of the beyond. Okay? And so that's why in the world of beyond, so it says, V'amech kulam tzadikim. Every yid's a big tzaddik. That really, the truth is, that every yid is really a tzaddik. And so when we're able to connect to the deeper truth, when we're able to connect to to uncover all of the lies and all of the things that we're telling ourselves, which is like all the shtusim, so then we get in touch with the real truth. That is, this is all garbage. I really want to just have a nice life. I want to serve Hashem. I want to do mitzvahs. I want to do something meaningful. And so, through the revelation of Yovel, which is the idea of Olam Haba, which is the idea of the truth, so that's how he gets to his senses, and so even he will get through. And how is it done? So what's the mitzvah? What's the mitzvah of Yovel? The mitzvah of Yovel is shofar. The mitzvah of Yovel is shofar. That there's a special time. It's one time that on Yom Kippur, so we do a shofar during Yom Kippur. In fact, our custom to do a shofar at the end of Yom Kippur, so is actually, the source is, it's supposed to be a zecher, it's supposed to be a memorial to the fact that when we had the Beis Hamikdash and we had a Yovel, so that by the Yovel there was a mitzvah on Yom Kippur to have a shofar. Yeah, that's actually where the custom comes from. So what's the idea of the shofar? What's the idea of the shofar of Yovel? So it says that when Mashiach comes, V'haya b'yamahu yitaka b'shofar gadol. When Mashiach comes, there's going to be a big shofar. Uvo ha'ovdim be'eretz ashar v'hanidachem be'eretz Mitzrayim. And when this big shofar cries, so what's going to happen? All those who are pushed away to the land of Egypt, all those who are lost in Assyria, so everybody's going to come back. Doesn't matter how far off you went, even if you went all the way to Egypt, all the way to whatever that means. I think we gave a class once about what's the difference between Mitzrayim and Ashur. But it doesn't matter how far off you went, but you'll always come back. And how do you come back? You come back to the shofar. So the shofar has this ability to wake up a person who's completely off, completely dead, there's no one to talk to, numb. And it's able to wake him up. So this is why is this? That there's a difference between shmiya and re'iyah, between hearing and seeing. That Chazal tells us that the shmiya is from afar. You can hear something way before you can see it. Okay. That's why it's very our sense of hearing is it's very critical when. Like for a lot of dangerous things, like crossing the street, it's like I'm scared about these electric cars because it's much more dangerous because you don't hear them, so you can hear something which is from far away, and to see it you need to be much closer. That's why there's an interesting thing in the Gemara. So when it talks about when they have these different conversations, so sometimes we'll try to bring a proof to their argument. Whoever is bringing the argument will try to bring a proof to their side. So the expression that the Gemara always uses when it talks about bringing a proof is ta shma. Come in here. That's a reference to come in here. Come in here a proof. Let me try to argue my point. Now, very fascinating that in the Zohar, so it doesn't say ta shma. It consistently says something else. It says ta chazi. Chazi means to see. So why is it that in the Gemara, it says, come in here, and in the Zohar, it says, come and see. So the commentators of the Zohar explain that the sages that were learning Zohar, so the way that they understood Torah, the way that they understood the spiritual ideas was not, they weren't understanding it with their minds. They were understanding it through experience. It was a reality. It was a reality that they saw, that the truths that they were revealing was something that was just very apparent to them. And so it was something that they felt and something that they just knew. And so the correct expression would be tachazik. Let me show you. let me show you what I mean. And that they would oh, you're right. Yeah, what was I thinking? And it was a different way of connecting to truth. It was a different way. Like they would, like, I don't know what they would do exactly. Like they put them everybody in some kind of meditation, and then they would just get it. But the chaziyah is from close. Okay, so when you're really connected to something, then you can see it. And in the Gemara, so everything is we're going in the dark. We're going in the dark. We're trying to understand ideas. We're trying to understand like different kinds of svaras and different kinds of arguments, just like theoretical. But like I don't know. I'm just thinking thinking based on the way that I can project things with my mind. So that's tashma. So shma is always something in the far, and that's why. So we say on Rosh Hashanah v'yishmu rechaykim v'yavayu. That we say that the people far away they will hear your cry. That's going to be when Mashiach comes. Is that whoever's far away, this is v'yishmu rechaykim. They're going to hear. So this is the shofar. This is the shofar that's able to wake up this person and get him connected, even if he's mamish not connected. So this is why Reb Tzadok, right? This is why. So what do we do? What do we do to this tragic case? This guy that's in his addictions, is in his bad habits, is in his bad cycles, and he doesn't want to get out. So what do we do to him? So we take his ear. And we say, wake up, you ear! This is our mini shofar, and this is like waiting for. We're trying to pave the way for the shofar that's going to be on Yom Kippur, that's going to actually bring him fear. But we're telling him, you need to know that you have a serious ear infection. That you have to know that there's something wrong with your ears, and so the beginning of your recovery, the beginning of your tikkun is specifically going to be that you need to open up your ears, and that's where we're hinting to in this thing of the Ritzia. And this is really what Chazal mean when the Rashi brings this down. That why do we make the hole in his ear? So, Ois and Shashama al Har Sinai says that the ear that heard that Avadaihem, that Hashem says that you're my servants, and you're supposed to be my servants. You're not supposed to be slaves to slaves. You're not supposed to be servants. You're not supposed to be slaves to us. Another person who's a slave, meaning another Jew is also a slave. You're not supposed to be. Don't be a slave to somebody. You're supposed to be a boss. You're supposed to be my slave, which is beautiful to be Hashem's slaves. But you shouldn't be a human being slave. That's not the way it's supposed to be. So that's why, because he did against his will, that through his will, voluntarily, he became a slave more than he needed to. So there's something. What's wrong with you? You didn't hear? You don't remember that Hashem said? You don't remember that Hashem said that you're supposed to only be his slave? So Tzadok asked, what is there's lots of Hashem says a lot of things. Hashem says a lot of things, and so anybody that does anything wrong, so obviously you didn't listen, right? No, you should listen. So what's special about this? What's special about the thing that he voluntarily became slave, that we say, ooh, you didn't hear, you have to fix your ears? The exact same thing is true, but anybody that speaks Lashon Hara, you didn't listen, Hashem said not to speak Lashon Hara, person that steals, you didn't listen, Hashem said not to steal. Every single mitzvah in the book, so you could say the exact same thing. So why over here? Why is this the one time the Torah says you have to mess with his ears? There's something wrong with his ears. So he says, because what is the very basic thing of Maimon Har Sinai? This is, there's in this week's Parsha, besides the Mishpatim, so at the end of the Parsha, so we have the end of Maimon Har Sinai, and it's a very, very critical part of the story, because in this week's Parsha is where we learn about Nasa v'Nishma. Okay, last week's Parsha we got the Ten Commandments, but really the prequel to getting the Ten Commandments was in this week's Parsha. It goes out of order, and before we got the Ten Commandments, so Hashem asked us, do you want the Torah? And what do we say? Nasa v'Nishma. That we'll do and we'll listen. Okay, that's in this week's Parsha. Okay, so what is the intro to receiving the Torah? The intro to receiving the Torah is Nasa v'Nishma. I'm saying that I want to hear. Now, why is that? Why is that? Why is the ability to hear? Why is that the necessary intro to receiving the Torah? Because Tzadok says that the basic thing about being a Jew is what's called Kabbalat Ol Malchut Shemayim. Accepting on myself the yoke of heaven. Okay? And that's really hearing is that to be tuned in to what somebody else is saying. Okay? And the difference between a person that wants to grow, that wants to be connected, and a person that just wants to just do their own thing, is who's the boss? Who's the boss? Am I the boss or is God the boss? And this is the biggest question that a person has to ask themselves: Am I calling the shots? Do I want to be controlling my life? Do I want to be bringing my life to where I want to go, or am I actually seeking a higher power? Do I want to have someone who's greater than me direct me? Do I want to live for something greater than myself? Okay, that's the difference. Like that's the difference of having a life with meaning or a life without meaning. A person that's living for themselves. So this is my life. My life starts here and ends here, and that is the meaning of my life. It's like I was once giving a class, the meaning of life, to this secular young Judaic group, and he says to me, Rabbi, you know what the meaning of my life is? The meaning of my life is to fill my body with dopamine for as many hours a day as I can, and so that's exactly unfortunately he didn't really understand the class, because that was what I was calling that your life has no meaning. And live
I hate to say it, buddy, but it's kind of awkward. Your life has no meaning.
Yeah. Hashem, there's always hope. So the very basic thing about being a Jew is that my life has a meaning. I want to look to something higher. I want to listen to what there might be in life more than me. Okay, so this is all about hearing. Hearing is that to tune in to a higher power, to tune in to a higher story, to recognize that the life is bigger than my exactly body and the things I do. So this is what's called Kabbalah Samach Shemaim, and this is why it's the ear. The ear is that I'm tuned into listening. Okay, I mean a person that doesn't hear, so then they're stuck with themselves. A person that's really I told a joke on Shabbos that there was a guy that was complaining. Asked the rabbi what was the rabbi, what do I do what do you do if your wife is always yelling at you? So he says, well, probably asking for your neighbor. So tell your neighbor that sometimes you have a wife that talks to her husband and he just doesn't listen. So she has to say it a little bit louder. So tell your friend to just start listening to his wife and she'll stop shouting. So a person that doesn't listen, it's a skill to be able to listen, to be able to hear that that there's a different perspective on something, that people have different ways of looking at it than you do. People have different needs than you. People have different plans than you. People have different aspirations than you, and that's also valid. And there's more to life than what I think for myself. So that basic understanding, that's called listening. Okay, and that's what's called Kabbalah's all. That's the understanding that life is more than me. Okay, so it starts with the earth. So that's why accepting the Torah, receiving the Torah is Nasa V'Nishma. That's why last week's Parshat starts by Yishma Yisra. It's all about hearing. It's all about the ability to hear, to have good ears. To have good ears is the most basic, fundamental thing in Judaism. I don't know. I don't know if it says this anywhere, but I think that's why the girls are into earrings. There's something.
Slaves?
I think it's no the opposite. I think they're saying that like look at my ears. I have beautiful ears. Look at it. What? What?
I was thinking something else. Yeah, I was going to say, it makes them hear better because it's pulling other ears.
Good to hear better. No, that was not what I meant.
That's the dumbest thing I've ever heard.
So, but to have,
Make some good listeners.
to have beautiful ears, to have beautiful ears means that I'm always open to hearing new perspectives. I'm always open to learning. I'm always open to expanding. And this is like the most basic thing about being a Jew. So this is really what the shofar is meant to do. That the shofar is able to take the person that his ears are really, really, really clogged up, and the shofar is able to unclog his ears, and able to get him out of this situation, out of this trance that everything's okay, and I have no need for a normal life. I have no need for a job. I have no need for relationships. I can just stay with my addictions and stay with my bad habits. And it's just like to open up your ears, to be able to listen to what everybody around you is telling you, and to exit your own echo chamber of like what I was telling myself, what I'm convincing myself, and to be able to open up your ears is to be able to grow. To be able to open up your ears is to be able to live. And so this is really the beginning of tikkun. This is what Mishpatim is all about. This is that Hashem gives us a whole seder, a whole system of how to fix ourselves, of how to get out of trouble, because Hashem loves us, and Hashem never wants us to be hopeless. Hashem never wants us that it should be that there can't be a point of no return. And so that's why sometimes it's punishments, sometimes it's gulgulim, sometimes it's addictions, it's a rock bottom, and I'll end with there's a story about that sometimes like how Hashem wants to wake up a person, and sometimes like it takes something intense to wake up the person. So there's a story about a guy that he had a penthouse apartment on like 25th floor, and he was once he went onto the porch, and he got locked out of the porch, and his phone was in the apartment and didn't know what to do. So he starts like pounding and hoping that somebody's gonna hear him from the hallway. It didn't work, and so he starts shouting down to the street, and obviously it didn't work. So he had an idea. He had his wallet with him, so he took a bill, and he dropped the bill down to the floor, and he's washing it, and he's hoping that somebody's gonna see the money, pick it up, and look up. And so he drops the money, slowly, finally, and he sees a guy looking, sees it, and looks right, looks left, just picks it up, puts it in his pocket, and keeps it going. He said, no, look up. No looking up. And he says, okay, does it again. Same thing. Guy walks down, walks in, right, left, nobody's looking, picks it up, goes on, and the guy that doesn't look up. And he keeps on doing this until he runs out of money. And so he says, like, what do I do now? So he looks around, and he sees the little pebble. He says, okay, we'll try. So he throws the pebble down. He says, what the heck? What's going on? And like, save me. It's like that's so this is a metaphor that Hashem, He's dying for us to look up. He's dying for us to look up. We're in our trances. We're in our different living our lives, and Hashem is just waiting for us to look up. So He gives us money, and He's hoping that we're gonna get out of this mess, get out of this stupor, and we just, what do? We take the money and we keep on going. So He says, okay, like I don't know what to do anymore. So He throws this little pebble, but the whole purpose of the pebble is that we should look up. The whole purpose of the punishment, the whole purpose of anything that we do that's negative that happens to us. So it's all for us to get to a better place. So Ashreinu that Hashem loves us so much. Ashreinu that Hashem does whatever it takes to get us out of all the mud, and B'ezrat Hashem. So we should be able to do all of our tikkunim in an easy way, and make sure that this is our last time here. And we'll meet up. We meet up after Achaber V'Esther. So after doing everything we need to do, and in this lifetime, and to bring to the tikkun, to bring the tikkun of the entire world, to bring Mashiach, to bring Geula B'ezrat Hashem. Now, as soon as possible.